Imagine this. You're a new mother, still adjusting to sleepless nights, diapers, and the overwhelming joy that comes with bringing a new life into the world. You're finally getting the hang of it when, bam, something happens that changes everything. Your own mother-in-law, the woman you trusted, the one who's supposed to be supportive and loving, turns on you in the worst way possible. She stands there in front of you, yelling things you can't believe you're hearing, and then, without warning, she throws your baby off the balcony. Now, I know this sounds insane. You're probably thinking, no way, that can't be real. But trust me, this is exactly what happened to me, and I'm about to tell you the full shocking story. Before I dive deep into this unbelievable experience, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment to let me know your thoughts on this wild story. Believe me, you won't want to miss what happens next. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on, guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed. All right, let me take you back to where it all started. I'll never forget that day. It's been 6 months since I gave birth to my beautiful baby girl, Lily. It feels like a blur now, but at the time, it was one of the happiest days of my life. There's nothing quite like holding your own child in your arms, feeling their tiny heartbeat against yours. But if I'm being honest, I was also scared out of my mind. I was on my own financially. I didn't have a big support system. I wasn't rolling in cash, but I was determined to do everything I could to give my daughter the best life possible. I was also working hard to be a good wife to my husband, Jake. Things weren't perfect, but we were managing, and that's when the real trouble started. My mother-in-law, Sharon, wasn't exactly the warm, welcoming type, and when I first met her, I hoped that maybe, just maybe, I could break through that cold exterior and build a relationship with her. But that never really happened. From the start, I could feel the tension between us. Sharon was one of those people who could never be pleased. She was always criticizing me, my choices, and the way I did things. But she never came out and said it directly. She was too subtle for that. It was in her comments about how I kept my house, how I handled my finances, and how I raised my dogs before I even had a baby. It was always little jabs, like she was trying to put me in my place, and I hated it. After I got pregnant, I thought things would settle down. Surely she'd soften up, right? After all, this was her first grandchild. But no, Sharon only got worse. Building tension. I remember when I told Sharon I was pregnant. I'd hoped she'd be excited, but her reaction was less than thrilled. She gave me this weird smile, and then without missing a beat, she said, "Well, I guess this is the path you've chosen." It wasn't exactly the congratulations I was hoping for. When I asked her to come visit after Lily was born, she hesitated. "I'll be by when I can," she said, her voice dripping with that passive-aggressive tone that sent a chill down my spine. I didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't asking for her to babysit or anything. I just wanted some support. But I guess Sharon had her own ideas about what it meant to be a mother, and it wasn't anything like I was doing. After the birth, it only got worse. I had my hands full trying to care for a newborn, adjusting to sleepless nights, nursing, and learning how to be a mother. But Sharon would come over, sit in my living room, and watch me struggle without offering a single word of encouragement. Instead, she'd just judge. "The house is a mess," she'd mutter. "You can't even pick up after yourself." If I asked her to help, she'd roll her eyes. Or worse, make it clear that she didn't approve of how I was handling things. There was always some little criticism, always a judgment about how easy it was for others, and how I was clearly failing at something I didn't even know I was supposed to be failing at. It wore me down, but still I tried to maintain my composure. I kept telling myself that she was family, and maybe she just needed time to warm up to me. That was until that one fateful afternoon. The turning point. It was a Saturday, a typical quiet weekend afternoon. Jake had gone out for errands and I was home alone with Lily. I'd finally gotten her to sleep after a long morning of trying to calm her down. Everything felt peaceful for the first time in a while. The house was calm. I felt like I could breathe. But then, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, there she was, Sharon. She walked in without waiting for an invitation, her presence filling the room with that cold, judgmental energy she always carried with her. "Where's the baby?" she asked without even looking at me, her eyes scanning the room as if she was inspecting the place. I tried to keep my tone neutral. "She's in the nursery napping." Sharon didn't respond. She just headed straight for the room. I followed her, feeling a mix of anxiety and confusion. Why was she being so cold? Why couldn't she just act like a normal grandmother? When she came back into the living room, I could see the look in her eyes. It wasn't the warm gaze of a proud grandma. No, it was something darker. Her eyes were narrow, her mouth set in a grimace. "Your place is a mess," she said flatly. "I can't believe you're raising a child in this environment." I bit my lip, trying to keep my cool. "I'm doing the best I can, Sharon. Things are tough right now, but we're managing." But she wasn't listening. Her gaze was fixed on my daughter, and that's when the real criticism started. "You're poor," she sneered. "I don't understand how you think you're capable of raising a child. Poor people like you don't deserve to have kids." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I'd heard her talk down to me before, but this was something else entirely. She was saying that because I didn't have a lot of money, I didn't deserve to be a mother. It was cruel and it hurt in ways I couldn't even describe. I tried to keep my composure, but the words were already out. She was looking at me with that icy stare, and I could feel the blood boiling in my veins. "You don't get to talk to me like that," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "This is my home. This is my child. I'm doing the best I can, and you don't have the right to judge me." Sharon didn't flinch. In fact, she stepped closer, the anger in her eyes intensifying. "I'll tell you one thing," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "You should have thought about your finances before you brought that child into the world. You can't even take care of yourself, let alone a baby." At that moment, something inside me snapped. I was done. I was done with her insults, done with her cruelty. This wasn't just a disagreement anymore. It was an attack on me as a mother, on my worthiness. I took a deep breath and said, "I may not have a lot, but I will fight with everything I have to give Lily a good life. You can't take that from me." But she wasn't done. No, Sharon wasn't going to back down. Her next words came out in a venomous hiss. "You think you're better than me, don't you? That's rich. You can't even handle a house, let alone a baby. Poor people don't deserve kids." And that's when the unthinkable happened. Without warning, Sharon turned and rushed towards the balcony. I didn't even have time to react before she yanked open the glass door. I froze, my mind racing. Was she really going to? But then it happened. Sharon walked right to the edge of the balcony, and before I could stop her, she threw my baby off the balcony. It was like time slowed down. I don't even remember screaming. All I remember is running to the balcony, my legs shaky, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked over the edge. There was no sign of Lily. She was gone. The desperation, I rushed downstairs, my hands shaking. "Jake!" I screamed, but the world felt like it was spinning. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think straight. I didn't know what was happening, didn't know if I was dreaming or if this was my worst nightmare come true. Jake had just come home, and when he saw my face, his own expression turned to panic. Without a word, he ran outside with me. We both frantically searched for Lily. I don't know how long we searched. It felt like hours, even though it was only a few minutes. My heart was pounding in my chest, my mind screaming for Lily to be okay. And then a miracle happened. One of our neighbors had seen the whole thing. They'd heard me scream and rushed out. They'd caught Lily. She was alive. The aftermath. Lily was shaken up, but thankfully she was unharmed. I don't know how she managed to land safely, but I will be forever grateful for that neighbor who stepped in when I couldn't. We rushed to the hospital just to be safe, but the doctors confirmed that Lily had no injuries. As for Sharon, well, things escalated quickly. I contacted the police, and they started an investigation. They took her statement and mine, and while they were looking into it, Sharon tried to apologize. She said it was a moment of anger, but there's no way I could ever forgive her for what she did. No one has the right to hurt my child. And just like that, Sharon was out of our lives. I don't care if she's family. After what she did, she's not welcome in my home, and she certainly has no place in Lily's life.